embark on a little Pilates journey that helps to strengthen the hips and open them a little bit and open the shoulders and chest. So I think about people who have to sit a lot, driving, at a desk, whatever. Most of us have to sit a lot. And this is about opening up that posture. So kind of undoing this forward thing that happens. So first, and also it's going to really make your booty look good and open up your standing posture. So anyway, go ahead and lie down on your side and stack your knees. And you can prop your head up like this or down like this. This is where I'm more comfortable. Make sure that your knees are in front of your hips and air even on the side of a little closer, if anything. Stacking your knees and then bringing your feet in line with your knees, 2 90-degree angles. Take the top hand and put it at your sacrum. And we're just going to warm up your hip rotators a little bit. But I'll tell you, it will burn in your tushy. And if you need to take a break or do a little, then do it. So we're going to start with your feet together and your knees open, just a small and simple clam. Why is my movement so small? Because I am being very certain that my hip isn't rolling back. So I want you to think about going out and up. And to be perfectly honest, I'm already feeling this engagement in glute medius and the piriformis rotating the leg for me. So this should build burn quickly. It doesn't look like much if you're watching, but if you're doing, then you're with me in this burn. So now keep your knees together and bring your feet up. Keep your hand at your sacrum and open, and you'll have a bigger range of motion, but it's the same quality of movement. So we're going to open and close without letting your hip roll back. So think knee is going to reach out and up, like you're trying to touch me with that knee as it lifts up. 2 more like this. Now we're going to add a little extra if you can. We're going to open and then extend the leg, then to bring the feet together and bring the knees together. Open, extend, feet together, knees together. Open, extend, feet together, knees together. 2 more of these. Nice stable hips. And last one. Good. And then let's bring those feet down. Take a little second. And we're going to go into more of this. So when we're lifting this leg, the other thing you want to be careful of is not to hike the hip up. So try to keep the hips stacked, almost like you're trying to keep a little space under your waist here. And we're going to bring the foot up, the knee together, and then tap foot to foot and knee to knee. And foot to foot and knee to knee. So the glute medius, the side of your tushy, and that upper outer quadrant, they get a lot less work, so they tend to be very tight and very weak, which makes you more prone to injury and back pain and hip pain. And also, as I mentioned, it does help to sculpt a nicer looking tush if you pay attention to all the parts. And now we're going to bring both feet together, extend the top leg straight, try to keep the hip stacked and lift the top leg as high as your hip. And then stay as high as your hip and go little pulses up from there. Pulse, pulse, pulse. 4, you should be dying. 3, 2, 1, and small circles, 5 in each direction. 3, 4, 5, and switch. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let's stretch it out. And then we're going to switch. So just lie on your other side. Okay. Knees in line with hip, feet in line with knees. And you feel that your sacrum is steady as you just open the knee. These are called clams. You can imagine just a little pearl right here. You're going to open and close. And if you feel the underside of your hip starting to contract, you'll notice that the same muscles we're working to open this knee are helping you to stabilize on the underside. So they feel like they're working too now, especially because you just worked them. So now, feet up, same type of movement, a little bit bigger range of motion. Nice, steady hips. Which side is working harder for you, top side or bottom side? I tend to feel the bottom side at the moment. Now we're going to open, extend, feet together, knees together. Open, extend, feet together, knees together. 2 more. And last one. Awesome. Okay. Rest. Take a moment. I needed it, so I'm assuming you did too. Then we're going to bring the knees together, the feet apart, and then rotate that femur in the hip socket and rotate. Tap the knees, and then tap the toes. So most of our movements are forward and backward, right? Walking, you know, is hopefully we get some walking in life. So we don't do this rotation of the femur in the hip socket, which we are capable of doing, and therefore we should do to maintain that ability to move in that range of motion, the strength and the stretch that it requires. Okay, so now we're gonna rest, then bring the top leg straight. Try to keep the waist long, bring the top foot as high as the hip. If your hamstrings won't let you do this without this, then you can be out here, and then just bringing to that edge, and we're gonna pulse, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 5 in each direction, 2, 3, 4, 5, and switch, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, really quick hip stretch before we move on. You can do this on your back if you find this to be too intense. You can do a figure 4 on your back, or a double pigeon, or a seated cross leg, just to open up these posterior hips. A little stretch, and just to find some relief after we do stretching on both sides. Hopefully that ache in your tush is pretty much subsided. If not, feel free to take longer stretch. Okay, so we've got the hips warmed up, and we're gonna start going into opening the front of the hips, the belly, the chest, the shoulders by laying on your tummy. So now, lay on your belly, get comfortable. Place the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the elbows in and back so you don't get the shoulder shrug. You get those shoulder stabilizers to bring the shoulders down, and feel the glutes and the belly and the legs turn on. So instead of having this exaggerated arch, we're going to lessen the lower back arch by pushing the pubic bone down into the mat, lifting the abdominal muscles up into the back, and engaging the glutes and hamstrings. I want you to do this so that the lower back doesn't do all of the arching for you. And so now press the hands into the mat and start to lift up. And lift as high as you can, keeping the legs, the belly, the butt active. Stretch and lower back down. If you could not get your arms all the way straight, you can bring your hands a little bit more forward. If you could and you want more stretch, bring your hands further back. We're just going to do this 2 or 3 more times, and I want you to really keep the legs and the booty active. That will help you to save the lower back. This is a great tricep exercise, but we're also opening up the psoas muscles, or the muscles that connect the legs up into the belly and spine. We're going to stay here. I want you to do a shoulder roll, up, back, and down. Just lubricate those shoulders a little bit and stretch the tummy. Beautiful. Now press the ground away, lift the heart. Keep the belly, legs, and tushy active, and get into a nice back bend. And then slowly lower down. So now you're going to reach your arms forward. This is much more challenging. We're going to lift the right arm at the left leg. Up and then down. Up and down. Lifting the heart every time. Feel like the leg is lifting from the glute and the hamstring rather than overarching the lower back. Feel like the arm is reaching from the scapula, from the shoulder blade, not the neck. So you're trying to keep length in the neck. Feel like the shoulder blade is pulling down as the fingertips are reaching forward. So now we're going to lift everything up and down, and up and down, and up and down. Okay, take a breath. We're going to do swimming. Classical Pilates exercise, arms and legs move up, down, up, down. So we're going to lift and swim. Inhale for 5 and exhale for 5. Inhale and exhale. Inhale.
Any ideas?
And exhale. 2 more sets. Inhale and exhale. Last one, inhale and exhale. Okay, press back into a quick child's pose to round the spine. And then we'll go back on the tummy. So I want you to lift the heart, reach back, and try to grab your feet. This is an exercise I always remind people that is a classical Pilates exercise that I did not make up. So I want you to lift, lift, lift. Really kick into those hands, and then you're gonna try to start rocking on the belly. Massaging the organs in the psoas, strengthening the legs because you're kicking into the hands and opening the chest and shoulders. 2 more. And rest. Okay. So we're gonna go 1 more child's pose and then we'll get into a quadruped position. Awesome job. Okay, hands and knees. Are you also on a picnic table? Okay, just trying to find good footing for my hands and knees, so you too. We're gonna reach your right arm forward and your left leg back. And again, I want you to try not to dump too much and disconnect here. I want you to feel work in the back and leg and booty, but also work in the belly to hold and lift the ribs up and in. We're just gonna hold. And then replace the hand and the knee and reach out. So this is amazingly healing for your back and hips. If you have lower back pain, this is one of those prescriptions for the lower back. And we're gonna solve a lot of the core strength deficiencies that happen from sitting. So now we're just going to reach and replace, and reach and replace. And maybe you don't sit a lot. That doesn't mean that you're not suffering from tight shoulders and hip flexors. It just happens to be the new epidemic that we're dealing with as a society, so that's why I'm referencing it. So I really want you to keep the belly in. It's not that you will not feel your back, or that you won't feel even a slight dip in the spine, but I want you to have that sense that the belly muscles are lifting the rib cage. This is, again, one of those things that looks easier than it feels when you're doing it properly. Now, we're gonna reach, and we're going to allow a back bend as we pulse, pulse, pulse. Squeeze the glute, lift from the shoulder blade. Keep the belly engaged to protect the back and to stretch the belly as you're arching and lifting those limbs. We'll replace, lengthen, and pulse. Remember to squeeze right where your leg and butt meets so you don't dump too much into that back. 2 more, last one, and rest. Okay, so we did a lot of opening through the front body. Let's give the back a little relief by connecting through the front core muscles in a quick 100. So 100 can be done in many different ways. The important part is that you don't feel your back hurting. That's number 1. So if that's here for you, here, 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 you decide, move into it to the level that you can maintain without popping the belly, overarching the back. And I would like you to try to not work in imprint, so don't completely flatten the back, but find neutral, find a little tiny space under the lumbar, and maintain it. So reach the arms forward, feel the arms connecting to the shoulder blades like they're reaching right through the middle fingers. Bring one leg to tabletop if you can, then the other. We're gonna pulse. Inhale for 5, and exhale for 5. And you can extend out if you'd like. And if you feel that you're starting to get into your back, bring them back in, inhaling for 5, and exhaling for 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. 2 more sets. And last set. and rest. So Pilates instructors are famous for the 100-ish. I've seen the t-shirt. I don't know if you have. So that wasn't 10 sets of 10. Apologies. But the benefits are there. We just needed to connect that front body and stabilize the lower back. And now I'm just doing some intuitive movement in my hips just to feel loosey-goosey. Good. Okay. So that was just a quick opener of the chest, the shoulders, the hip flexors. Strengthening here helps you to not be so tight here, right? So lastly, I just want you to sit comfortably on those sits bones. Try to avoid that, military stance. Actually feel a sigh of relief. May feel like a slouch, but it isn't really, because your back has a nice open channel of energy. So I want you to notice how good that feels. Even if you feel the belly isn't as taut, you feel those kind of rolls happening, I do too. That's where you're supposed to be in order to have freedom of breath and freedom of movement of spinal fluid and energy up and down the spine, so you won't feel that lockdown sensation in the mid-back. So allow yourself to slouch a little bit, because it's not really a slouch, it's just your perception, and then the shoulders and head will correct. I like to remind you of this as much as possible, because it will bring ease into your breath. And then from here, if we want to do a quick back bend, you can tense your hands behind you, roll the shoulders up, back, and down, and that's when we're allowing the breastbone to move through the shoulders, squeezing those elbows back. Oh, yeah. And then back down to a couple of breaths. So I hope you loved that, and you know I love you, and I will see you soon.
Any ideas?